guest has had to get up very, very early to be with us. In fact, it could probably still be night where it is. The dawn is cracking. Our guest is actually a professional drone pilot, an educator, and the co-founder of an awesome brand called the Drone Academy, GADA. They're based over in America, and you guys are in for such a treat. You're going to be led through some interactive presentations, drone technology, how drones are being used in various things, as well as the fight for COVID-19. I've said enough. Eno, hi.
Yes, I'm very well. How are you today?
I'm really well. So you're coming to us from America. You are in Baltimore, aren't you?
That's correct. Yes, Baltimore.
What time is it there?
It is 7:15 in the morning here, so not too early, but it's still early. So
it's not a crap. It's pretty early. Thank you so much for early to join us.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
So here we go. We've got 10, the numbers just keep building. I don't know, it could be like 100 people on this thing now. We are going to have questions for you. So please go ahead and I'll get those questions in towards the end.
Awesome. Thank you again for having me. As Fayon mentioned, my name is Eno Umo. Most of our students call me Coach E for short. But as mentioned, I am the co-founder of Global Air Drone Academy and an entity called Global Air Media. And essentially, we use drones for various type of projects all around the world. I particularly love coming to London, love coming to the UK to perform some of our workshops. So what we're going to do today is actually go through what we do as a company, show you some of the uses of drone technology, how you can actually become a part of the industry, and then of course talk about how they are being used around the world today. So let me bring up my screen and we can get right into it.
Okay, I'm just already witnessing quite a few questions and you haven't even said anything.
All right. Awesome. Can everyone see? Can you see?
Yeah, can see.
Okay. All right, great. All right, so thank you again. This is, I believe, yes, our second time with the Sutton Science Festival. Last year, if you were able to see us on Sutton High Street or at Sutton Grammar School, we were able to bring out what we call the Drone Zone. So definitely enjoy the invite here, and I'm happy to be with you all. Once again, we do have some social media pages, so you can feel free to look us up at GA Drone Academy. I've also listed my personal handle here, where you can see all my cool travels, and then we are also on Instagram as well for the Drone Academy. So definitely feel free to check us out there. So I wanted to actually show you a video before we get into the full presentation, because it's not just about drones. I am what I consider a creative artist. I love just shooting videos around all the cool places that I'm able to visit in the world. And I actually wanted to show you a video of something that I shot probably a little bit over a year ago, but this is actually some clips of London, and I'm sure you all have seen and been to many of these places, but it was really particularly cool for me because I was able to show all of my colleagues and my friends back here in the States about how cool London is. So I just wanted to show you that video. So just a
Just
look
say,
at.
how cool it was to see London. Because of lockdown, I live in London. I've not been in central London for so long. So thank
Yeah,
you. That's awesome.
no problems. My pleasure. And yeah, that was around November or December of 2018, actually. So yeah, just enjoy putting videos together, and definitely, yeah, well, London is one of my favorite cities for sure. So. Um, so a little bit more about us. As you've heard, we are based in Baltimore, in the U.S. of A. We've conducted workshops now in 9 different countries around the world. Some places I never thought that I would be in, but you know, this company and drone technology has really provided me opportunities to see the world. As you can see at the top here, we are essentially a 2-part company. We have Global Air Media, which is mainly focused on providing commercial services with drones. We're going to go into some of those as well. And then we have the Global Air Drone Academy, which focuses just on our education and training. That is a nonprofit entity, and we like to, of course, do workshops around the world. So you can see some of our coaches that we have in various places. Coach Vic here that did a workshop at Harris Academy a few years ago. And we have been in the UK, of course. So these are some of the examples of some of the events that we have done. Croydon High School, Harris Academy, of course, last year, the Big Bang Festival, Sutton High Street. So hopefully some of you were able to experience that. And we do a lot of work also with STEM learning, trainer workshop that we've done with them as well. We have done a summer camp at the Redbridge Library. This is actually an opportunity for you all to actually come out and learn how to build and fly and actually take home your own drone. So I wanted to show you quickly how this summer camp goes. And we had a group of about 15 students last year that had an awesome time. So just wanted to show you so you can get an experience into how our summer camps work. All right, so obviously right now we are in a virtual mode, shall we call it, and we're doing a lot of our workshops virtually, but hopefully when things finally open up, we will be back into the libraries and hopefully maybe at your school as well. So if you're interested, definitely let us know. I wanted to let you know we have a free program going on online every Wednesday. So if you're interested in learning more and actually doing sessions like this, we have students that come in from all over the world, as you can see here, some of the call times we have in. But every Wednesday, feel free to sign up on our website. It's called the Virtual Drone Club, and you will get to join in with some amazing students all across the world. So quickly, what we're going to cover today, we're going to go a bit over drone safety rules. We're going to learn about how drones are being used to fight the COVID-19 virus. And then we actually have a logo design competition, which we're going to tell you about. And you're actually going to have some lucky person on this call who's made it all the way to the end. You're going to get a chance to win yourself a drone camp in a box, which is a new initiative that we have going on. So I mentioned Global Air Media. This is just an example of one of our project shoots that we go on. You can see that we're very safety conscious. All right, so we wear vests when we're out. You can see back here in front of my partner, Austin, there is a takeoff pad right here. So every time you're flying a drone, you have to be aware of safety measures. So where are drones being used today? We've seen drones being used in a number of different industries. And for some reason okay, here we go. All right. So we have construction, using drones to map out certain areas of land to track progress We have agricultural uses where you can use drones to plant tree seeds. You can use drones to spray your crops, of course, monitor your crops over time. One of our first ways to get into the drone industry was real estate. So we used to go out and shoot video and pictures and take pictures, for realtors who wanted to sell their property and wanted an innovative way to do that. If you could think about traditional ways of selling your home, you go out, you take a picture from the front or the sides of the home, but you're not really getting that perspective of what the neighborhood looks like, things like that. So this is actually what we call the low-hanging fruit to the industry. There's a lot of work in real estate if you're interested. Conservation, of course, being able to track everything from animals to erosion in the environment. There's so many applications. Delivery, which I'm sure you all have heard about. They've been doing a lot of delivery in the UK, especially when it comes to Amazon. Also medical deliveries, which we'll get a little bit into. And of course, filming. Filming is something that you may not, well, of course you're going to think of first off, but other people like to think of commercial applications, but filming is near and dear to my heart. It covers the arts. Now we're talking about STEAM technology instead of just STEM, so science, technology, engineering, the arts, and math. So of course, drones essentially cover all of those bases. Quickly on the Drone Academy, this is just some of the things that we offer to some of our clients. Of course, our youth programming is our core part of what we do. That's how we really got started. So just going to take a little bit of drone safety rules for some of you that may already have drones, just so you all are aware of some of the safety rules that we adhere to. Here in the United States, we have something called the Federal Aviation Administration. Essentially, they set the rules and guidelines for everything that's in the sky. So planes were, of course, there before drones. So they regulate planes, at the aircraft, planes, and drones at this point. And of course, in the United Kingdom, you have the Civil Aviation Authority. So essentially, these are the police of the sky, all right? So if you ever need permission to fly somewhere or want to get a license, if you're in the UK, you would have to go through the Civil Aviation Authority. Now, when you're flying, there are a few key points to keep in mind. And I'll just touch on 4. There's obviously a lot more. And I would like to maybe get some questions about drone safety in general. If you have them, please ask. But essentially, we always say, keep your drone in a visual line of sight. We call this the LOS, your line of sight. All right. And quite simply, no sight, no flight. All right. If you can't see your drone, your signal can easily be messed up. You can easily have your drone lost for whatever reason. So make sure you can always see your drone at all times. Typically, we have a rule that says in any country that you're in, 400 feet is the legal limit. But of course, that is equivalent to 120 meters. Even that is extremely high for just flying, a regular hobby drone. So I wouldn't even suggest going above maybe 200 to 250 feet. That's about 60 to 70 meters. That's definitely sufficient for your age group, unless you have a license to shoot something much bigger. Then I would say you can go higher than that. But just for safety reasons, I would stay below there. Always know where you cannot fly your drone. All right, privacy is a big issue. Security is a big issue. I'm sure everyone remembers here about the Gatwick Airport situation that happened. I believe that was a Christmas or 2 ago. So we always want to make sure that we are getting permission to fly. And then lastly, not flying at night. This may, of course, seem as common sense to most of you, but flying at night is definitely not allowed. First of all, it's very hard to see a drone at night, even if you have lights on it. But think about how difficult it is to see other structures. Trees, of course, are not lit up at night. So you're going to have a much more difficult time flying when you're doing that. So that's our 4 safety rules. I'm not sure, Fayon, did you have any questions about?
Oh, shocking. Yes, I've got some questions already. So thank you so much for your dynamic presentation so far. I mean, it's so exciting. We have a question. What's it like when you fly? I don't know who this is from, but what's it like when you fly a drone and look through the camera? Because I've got one, but it's quite cheap, this person says.
Okay. So yes, so basically your drone, depending on its capability, you can transmit the video directly from the drone to your phone if you're using a phone to fly, or your tablet. And these video, the video quality ranges. It really just depends on the quality of your drone. So most camera drones come with the ability to transmit if it's via Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. Um, but you can also have a situation where we have something called FPV, first person view drone racing, which I'm sure some of you have seen before. And that involves you actually wearing goggles. And so as your drone is racing around the course, you can actually see what your drone is doing. It's pretty awesome.
Cool, cool, cool. And what's the coolest thing? Harsha Mata wants to know. What's the coolest thing you've done with your drone?
Wow, that's a good question. The coolest thing I've done with my drone is probably deliver an item. We were in Ethiopia. Actually, we were doing some trials for some medical delivery, and part of our proof of concept, we had to carry non-medical items. So we actually carried a pizza to kind of test out the weight and things like that. So that was pretty awesome. That's definitely one of the coolest things. And I would say the other thing is drone racing. Drone racing is by far a very, very fun activity.
Cool, cool, cool. People are already joining you on your YouTube channel. You've got some new subscribers.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Thank you very much.
Sebastian Secretary is saying, nice edit. Yeah, I agree with that. So Agastya is asking, I have a drone and I can fly it, but every time I do, it discharges after 10 to 15 minutes, even at 100%. Can you help me? And do you know why?
Sure, sure. So that is very normal. All right. Don't. It's not you. It's not anything. It's the drone. So typically, when you have drones, this is one of the example of we call a DJI Tello drone. So when you have these small lithium-ion batteries, the battery life is typically small. All right. So even this drone, this gets a max of about 10 to 11 minutes. All right, for this drone. Some of the bigger drones, and I'll show you. Let me give you an example. We call this a quadcopter drone. All right, so even something like this, as big as this and professional grade drone, you're only going to see about a 25-minute flight time on this. All right, so flight times are generally low anyway. I would say we are very new in the industry. This is definitely technology that people are working on to extend the flight time, but that's that's just the normal kind of flight time. So what we encourage you to do is buy a few extra batteries so you can keep up in the air, and that's typically how we control that.
So thank you. Ronan Chandra wants to know, can we make a drone at home and what would we need?
That is a very good question. So you can make some parts, but there are some parts that you will have to purchase. So for instance, if you wanted to 3D print the frame of the drone, or you wanted to, so this is like the outside area of the drone, you could explore 3D printing things like the propeller. It's actually pretty difficult to do that. You could also obviously use different material for a frame. I've seen even toothpicks being used, well, not toothpick, but a popsicle stick being used. But to make something like this, like the motor, is very, very difficult. It's not something that you can necessarily do at home. So you could build the outside, the framing part, but you would have to buy the motors and the flight controller, which controls how the drone moves. That's on the inside. Some of the electronic pieces that you can't necessarily make at home, you would have to buy online.
Okay, thank you. Padma Apana has a couple of questions. I'll put them together. Noticed that you had filmed some of the video by drone, so that's pretty cool. But also, is your camp in America only, or can you come to us?
Yeah, so the camp is in the UK, of course. We did one at the Redbridge Library last year. We were hoping to do a lot more this year, but of course we're in the situation that we're in. So we are doing online virtual camps. We have an initiative called Drone Camp in a Box. which I will tell you about as we announce our contest for today. But yes, we are adapting to the times, and as soon as we are able to get back to the UK, we will be there. We have a local partner, my friend Amir Chukta. He actually organizes some of our on-ground workshops. So definitely we will have an opportunity for you to participate in the UK. Sure.
Cool. There's a question here about how much drones cost, and I really feel that sort of depends on how big you want to go, how fast, how powerful.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, a lot of that depends on what you're trying to do. So I could just give you some examples. I'll just bring my screen up, and then actually this would be a good segue back into the COVID-19 applications. But you can see here we have 4 different types of drones, starting from a quadcopter, which has 4 motors and 4 propellers. And then we have a hexacopter, which has 6 motors, 6 propellers, octocopter, and a fixed wing. Now, I would say starting on the low, quote unquote, low end, you could get a professional grade quadcopter for, as little as 500 pounds. And depending on how many, batteries you want, if you want a carrying case, all that obviously can add up. And as you go up, obviously these are more capable as you go up. So a hexacopter would most likely start around 2,000 to 3,000 pounds. An octocopter, I would say more like 7,000 to 8,000, because you're obviously able to do more with these type of drones. So you can spray. One of the things we like to point out is there's a payload on here on the bottom, so you can actually, and this doesn't have to be spray. This can be a larger camera. There are different type of sensors that you can use on the bottom of your drone. And then we have the fixed wing here, which is built for long distances, built for long range flights. Sometimes we see fixed wings as opposed to our multi-rotor drones here. We can see some fixed wings last sometimes for hours and sometimes days at a time. The military grade fixed wings can last that long. So of course, something like this, your price range will be, I would say 20,000 pounds and above. But of course, this is for professional grade. If you're looking to just get in as a hobby, you can get as little as 20, 30 pounds on Amazon right now. But just to kind of show you a little bit about how drones are being used to fight COVID-19, and we'll jump right back into the questions. So we've seen actually a few interesting uses, all right? And one of the uses that you may not even think of, so let me just go through the first 4 that we typically mentioned, and something I actually came across this past week, which is something really, really awesome. So we've seen the use of thermal cameras, and specifically when it comes to COVID-19, obviously we are trying to identify people who are sick, who have a fever. That's a clear indication that they need more attention. So now we're seeing drones that have thermal cameras attached to it to be able to do certain type of surveys. And how this actually works is they work in tandem with a nurse or doctor that's on ground. So you're able to actually approach that person and say, hey, we noticed that you have elevated levels. Are you feeling okay? Can we help you in any way? The next thing we've seen is the delivery of supplies, which I touched on briefly. Amazon has been doing this, but obviously when it comes to social distancing, as I like to say, physical distancing, not social distancing, but as it comes to applying those different things, we have to get supplies to people still, and we have to find innovative ways to drop those supplies. We've also seen aerial spray and disinfecting. This is particularly interesting because, and I have an asterisk here because we're still actually testing out that use case to see how effective it is, but it is an innovative way to use drones. And of course, public information and crowd monitoring. You can see here, this is a DJI Enterprise, Mavic Enterprise drone, and this is actually used to send out messages to people, to communities, to tell them where maybe they can't be, just maybe general safety rules. You can actually pre-program recordings. So if you fly off to about 1 kilometer down the road and you need to let the community know something, you can let them know with this. And then the last thing I have here is the drone light show. You're probably thinking, how in the world is a drone light show going to help us fight COVID-19? I'm going to show you exactly how they did that. There's some really awesome stuff. I wish I knew which company this is. They are in Korea, but I just want to show you this, and we'll come right back.
예, 보시는 것처럼 비행 가능 상태에 대한 점검을 하는 절차를 밟고 있습니다. 코로나 바이러스를 예방할 수 있다라는 내용들의 메시지를 담고 있습니다. 보고 계십니다. 마스크를 쓴 두 사람이 거리 2m를
우린 하나 되어 이겼어.
감사의 마음을 담은 땡스 투유와 하트를 드리겠습니다.
일어날 수 있어. 그토록 힘들었던 지난 시련도 우린 하나 되어 이겼어.
All right, so some pretty innovative stuff. Who knew that they can send messages? Yeah.
That is so cool because I don't know if it translated over to America, but over here in the UK, we had children drawing rainbows and put up in all the windows and so many messages. Thank you, NHS. Thank you, key workers.
Definitely.
So, yeah, that is awesome. And even on my road where I am, there used to be a sign that said, if you're driving over a certain amount, it'll tell you. Now it says, wash your hands, stay alert. Thank you. So that's where drones could come in, I guess. Yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay. Loads of questions before we finish in about 2 minutes.
Sure.
I'm going to combine some questions. So, Faiz Shakir is asking, do you think there will be drones with zero noise? And also, another question would be, what if you have a camera on your drone? Do you still need to have it in your sight? That's from Augustine Teal.
Yes. So as far as I'll start with the camera sight. So if you can do either or. You don't necessarily have to have the goggles on. You could easily use a separate screen that's maybe on the side that you can reference. But the main thing is for you to see where your drone is. And if you're using goggles, it's not going to be in a scenario where you're doing an inspection or you're doing some type of survey. All right. The goggles are really specifically for racing. Because you're in a confined space. So anytime you're flying, out in the open air, you definitely want to make sure that you don't have any goggles on and you're able to either see directly on your phone or from a second screen. That can definitely allow you to be safer at the end of the day, because it is about seeing, where your drone is at all times. Apologies. The first question.
Yeah, with the camera thing. So if you can no longer see your drone and it's now out of your sight, because you've got a camera on it and you're monitoring it, say from your mobile, is that okay, or do you still need to physically be able to see?
Oh, yes. Sorry. Yes. So physically, your eyes need to be on the drone. Right. So not where the camera is, or not. You can say, oh, I can still see it's clear. Your eyes need to physically be able to see the drone. If you cannot see your drone, then you're absolutely flying too far.
Brilliant. Thank you. So you answered that one. And it was about noise. Do you think noise will ever be limited on the drones?
So they are definitely working on that, just like they're working on the battery technology to have longer flights. Drones are quite noisy right now, and I'm sure that's what prompted the question. But yes, they are working on that. I would say DJI, they have actually put out specific propellers that cut down and reduce the noise. And I would suspect within the next year or two they would have more propellers that can be quiet. I would say it's not too big of an issue, just because in general, when it comes to privacy and security, you actually do want to be able to hear where the drone is. So it's not. We're not hearing a huge movement to make them less noisy, but it is in progress. Yeah.
Combined questions. One from an anonymous person who's asking, what got you interested in flying drones? And Vikram Kohan is asking, how many drones have you made?
Good question. So, what got me really into drones? I'll just tell a quick story. I was actually on a trip to Nigeria, which is where my family, my father, is from, and I was attending an event back in 2015. It was an inauguration for the governor of a state there. And I was sitting in the stadium just as just a standby watcher, and I saw a huge drone being used to fly through the stadium. This was an octocopter drone, this huge, cinematic camera. And I just remember seeing that and I said, wow, like this is some amazing technology. And not only that, someone's being paid to operate, this drone. So once I did a lot of research for about 2 to 3 months, just looking at all the different applications of drone technology. I showed you some of the industries using it. That was my spark right then and there. I said, you know what, this is going to be huge. I want to be on the ground floor, and that's really how I got my start.
Brilliant. We're coming to the end, but I'm going to squeeze in some more questions.
Okay.
Somebody's asking, how much is the drone in the box cost? And Ryan Toe is asking, what do you do with the drones that other people build?
Yes. So the drone camp in a box, it is 125 US, which I believe is maybe around 140 or so pounds. I'll do the right math. Actually, I think it's a little less. I'll do the math on that. But yes, you can certainly go to our website. We are planning to open up our international shipping in the next week. So we will definitely make sure that we are able to get things to the UK. And then about I think someone asked how many drones I have personally built. I've probably built over 20 drones. I would say between 20 and 30 at this point. Some obviously are more experimental. You just want to see, how things work. And then with the drones that kids build during our class, typically they take the drones home. So we have a miniature drone that you can learn how to build. And throughout that week, you learn how to solder it, how to code it, how to program it. And then at the end of the week, you take it home. So we don't like to keep the work. We want you to take it home with you.
That's it. And when you're at home, because somebody was asking, you can fly things in your back garden, right?
Yeah, certainly. As long as you're safe and you have permission and enough space to do so, by all means, you can fly it in your backyard, definitely.
Okay, so we've got to think about wrapping up now, but more questions, over a few, and that's it, we're done. These are all anonymous. Is there a way to increase the range of signal from your controller to the drone while flying? And how do people react when they see you delivering with a drone? All right.
Okay, sorry, the first one about the range?
Is there a way to increase the range of signal from your controller to the drone while flying?
Yes. There have signal boosters essentially that you can just purchase. DJI has. I wish I had an example here, but essentially yes, it can significantly boost your range. But remember, there's always that rule of your line of sight. So it doesn't really do any good to invest in that if you're going to be flying further than you can see. So always practice precaution and safety before you do that. And the second question?
The second question, sorry, has disappeared. But what I can say is this is how we're going to wrap up.
Okay.
Drones, are they called drones because of the noise that they make? And a last one is a personal one, is how do people react when they see you delivering with a drone?
Yes. So it is definitely still a novel, still a new idea. If anything, we're seeing people more accepting of it. If you can remember in the beginning, there was some negativity, and still, when you see drones, when you hear about drones, some of the news stories are negative. So what we're trying to do is counter that narrative and make sure that people see drones in a good light. So wanted to quickly just wrap up and let you know we are giving away a free drone camp in a box. All right. So if you're interested in winning, just like we talked about today, there are some particular uses of drones when it comes to COVID-19. So what you're going to do is come up with your own drone company idea. All right. We're going to ask you to make a logo for that company or a flyer on Canva. And what you can do is submit that entry here to VDC. All right, this is for Virtual Drone Club at gadacademy.org. All right, and we will pick a winner from this group. So if you're interested in winning one, all we want you to do is submit your entry. You can also go to our website to sign up for the Virtual Drone Club so you can join us next Wednesday. And unfortunately, yes, we've run out of time, but I've had so much fun here today, and I look forward to speaking with you all again. All right.
Oh, wow. Before you go, people are asking for your contacts. So what's your Snapchat? What's your Twitter? What's your Instagram?
Yes. So let me just bring that up. I am on Instagram and Twitter. You can search my handle. Let's just bring this up. You can search my handle. It's Where is Eno? Screen. Type is Where's Eno? I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram as well. There should be a Twitter icon here. But if you also want to follow the Global Air Drone Academy, just type in GA Drone Academy and keep up to date with everything that we're doing.
Nice one. Wow. Again, could have spoken to you for so much longer. Thank you so much. And
yes.
Thank you so much for getting up early and sharing everything that you shared, and for giving away a drone in a box. This is so cool. So enjoy the rest of your day. Have breakfast.
Thank you. I'm going to do that right now. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Have a nice day, everyone.
Take care of yourself.